Guys, there is something critical in this market that everybody is forgetting about, and I want to bring this to your attention right now because I think this is very, very important and everybody is just too scared to see it, but I think it is very it's the thing that can really turn this market around, and it is. Look at this. If we look at the weekly time frame right here, Bitcoin has now seen pretty much like 5 weeks of consecutive downward trading, right? 5 bars, pretty much just trading downwards since that all-time high at $69,000. And this is a quite a horrendous sell-off. If we look at this on the daily time frame, there's been no significant rebound, and this is what I want to draw your attention to right here. For the first time in a while, we're really starting to hear people seriously talk about Bitcoin dropping significantly lower, dropping down to $30,000, dropping down to $20,000, which you guys know is my wet dream. It would absolutely please me massively if we were able to fall all the way down to $20,000. My goodness, that would be amazing. But it's the first time that people are really quite seriously talking about this in quite a while. And I just want to state the facts. I just want to state the facts right now that Bitcoin is in a place right now where, and I mean, like, literally, if we look at how long we've been in this little bear market, it's been 37 days. We've dropped down by 32% from our high to our current price, or 39% from our high to our low. And in all of that time, we haven't had a significant move up at all. In fact, the biggest move up that Bitcoin saw within this downtrend was plus 10%. And that's just not a huge rally, in my opinion. It's not super meaningful. If we look at this rally right here, it's already a little bit more than 10%. I know it's not significantly higher, but my point is that the rallies we see and these kind of drops, they should be above 10%, right? And broadly speaking, these rallies, they're not even close, right? 7.6% right here. If you measure this one from low to high, 7.4%. We're just not getting big pushes to the upside. We're not able to break that 10% barrier. And the reason that I think this is really important is that when we've been trending down for so long, we need to get some relief. The fear and greed index still, it's not as low as I would have liked it to be, but broadly speaking, one of the key facts that I showed you guys in my previous video is that the funding rates have very seriously started to take a turn to the downside. And all I want to do here is I'm only pointing these things out to you. You guys know the deal with this YouTube channel. Those of you who've been subscribed, you know the deal here. I state the facts, I tell you my opinion, but more importantly, I let you form your own opinions, because obviously that's the best thing for you. And all I want to do very, very clearly right now is just show you that right here, funding rates have dipped into negative territory, which means that bears have to pay to keep their positions open. Bulls get paid to keep their position open, and this is important because it can tell you where the market is generally leaning. Right here, funding rates are negative, but at our all-time high, look at what the funding rates were showing us. So there is a very clear switch now where many traders in this market are now trying to trade the downside. Now, if you don't understand what funding rates mean, don't worry. You don't really need to understand it beyond just knowing that when rates are negative, it tells you that more people are going short. When rates are positive, it tells you that more people are going long. Short means selling, long means buying. And so I think that's a very, very important thing to keep in mind right now, is we're seeing with, fear and greed index just generally being an extreme fear and kind of staying here for quite a while now, hovering around these areas, and with the funding rates confirming the very same point here. People are scared and fearful, doubtful and uncertain, and these are the kind of things that are happening right now when we haven't even seen a rebound in the market. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to get something that takes us all the way back up to that previous all-time high, but what I am saying is perhaps a break up to that 50k level, super doable in my opinion. Really, I think it makes a lot of sense. Patterns like this, where we have these kind of broadening wedges, like, they're generally supposed to be bullish for assets like Bitcoin, indicating that we're moving down and then we're moving down a little bit more slowly, which means that we're kind of losing the strength that the downside is pushing us, because initially we were moving down very quickly, then less quickly, which is a sign that the bears are kind of running out of strength, and then perhaps the market reverses. We're in another one of those instances right now, and this is exactly the same thing that I mentioned to you guys in the previous video. But the reason that it's so important right now is we already had one instance like this which broke down, but the likelihood that we get a second one that breaks down, to me, it just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't sit right with me, and I think that's really important, right? Because at the moment, you know, a lot of people, like I said, they're getting really scared. People are getting really scared. People are, again, for the first time in a while, entertaining quite low price levels, and that's fine, right? We definitely can be going down there. I'm not saying that Bitcoin is definitely not going into a bear market. I'm not saying anything about that. You know, personally, I still think that we're very much going to be able to resume this bull market. I still think that's the case. But what I think about that doesn't affect this analysis, which is where I'm saying that I think that just for the moment, I feel like, you know, because we've been trending downwards for so long with no significant relief rally, we're due for one. I really think that we're due for one. And, you know, one way that I think we can get it is a little bit of a capitulation candle, right? Something which you guys have seen my short-term analysis, but it's not good for Bitcoin right now. You know, I've already showed this with VIP, so they know all about what I'm seeing in this market. But pretty much what we've done here is we had this descending triangle in the market. Let me draw this for you again right here. We had a descending triangle in the market that looked something a little bit like this. And then support I will draw with a box because it's a little bit of a range. It's not just one key price level. And so the descending triangle looked a little bit like this in this market, you know, and then basically showing us that we dipped out of the support, came back up to attack it, managed to rally back up, but now we've dipped below it again and we are confirming it as resistance. And so, you know, getting a fake out and then coming back into the range, you know, that doesn't happen often. And again, I mean, you know, you just can't really expect it to happen a second time. And I mean, it's like hoping that you flip ahead like 5-6 times in a row. It's just, you know, the probability goes down, you know, the more you try, in my opinion, just looking at just classic technical analysis, right? And I think that's quite important because the last time Bitcoin was also in quite a similar pattern right here again with this descending triangle. It's the same stuff I've been talking to you guys about for quite a while. Again, you know, those of you who have been subscribed, shout out to those of you who have. You're going to know all about this, where I was showing you that Bitcoin had this fake out right here, managed to recover back up, but as soon as it dropped below this support box again, bam, it triggered a big sell-off. And I feel like in the short term chart, this still looks very likely, right? I can't shake this feeling. It doesn't look right. It looks like we've dropped below support. We are hanging around support for quite a long time. Honestly, I don't know how Bitcoin has this much strength in it at the moment. But just looking at normal TA, looking at where the resistance is, you guys know the EMA resistance and the Ichimoku cloud and so on that I've been talking about for quite a while, not showing good signs for Bitcoin. But, you know, I think that this can only play into potentially just, you know, perhaps one last kind of capitulation dump right here where people just give up and decide that they're out of the market. Bitcoin crashes down very quickly again, down to perhaps 44, maybe $42,000, and that's it. I just can't see it dropping lower than that. 40 at an absolute lowest low right here, and then I have to expect that we trigger, you know, at least, you know, a 1 or 2 week kind of bull market coming off that, perhaps towards the end of this year into the next year and so on. It just because of what I am seeing right here on this chart, when we zoom out and we look at this on the daily time frame, for example, it's just very hard for me to accept that the market can keep dropping without any relief rally. You know, to me, it just doesn't make sense. You know, we need relief rallies. We get them all the time. You know, look at this. We had a nice relief rally right here. This is the kind of thing that I'd be looking for, where from low to high, Bitcoin pumps up by 32%. You know, just to put this into perspective, if Bitcoin rises up by 32% now, it's not going to be at its all-time high. It's only going to meet resistance in the $60,000 range. How much would that throw people off, though, if Bitcoin managed to kind of rally up all the way into that 60K range and then continued the bear market? Super plausible. Not saying it will, but I am saying that if you subscribe to those bearish theories, this idea of Bitcoin triggering a little bit of a relief rally and then continuing on downwards just makes a lot of sense, especially considering that we haven't even seen it yet. You know, when we look at all the indicators and everyone in their nan looking at Bitcoin to open short positions right now, you know, that's just where the market typically finds reversal points. And I want us to be very keenly aware of that. Now, one thing that I think is very important to look at is the dollar. This is something I talk about quite a lot on this YouTube channel. So if you like me covering kind of real world analysis and looking at obviously the world's most important currency, then this is, again, what this channel is all about. And by the way, guys, if you do appreciate these videos and you want to see more of what I'm doing, you want to get insights into the trades that I'm making and so on, click on the first link in the description down below and just follow the steps around it, and you'll be able to see exactly how to get into my Forflies VIP group. And if you want to trade on the exact same exchange that I've been using for years, and I've been working with them for years, then Bybit is the place to be. All you got to do to sign up to it is by using my referral link down below. And the great thing about this, the reason I'm bringing it up, is you're going to get up to $4,100 completely free of charge just by using my referral link when you make your first deposit. So all you got to do is use that link down below, sign up, takes you 1 minute, deposit takes you another minute, just a couple of clicks. When you make your first Bitcoin deposit, you'll get up to you'll get up to 4.1k USD back into your trading account as a bonus. So definitely check that out. It's free money. All you got to do is do a couple of clicks. So absolutely amazing. But one of the key things that I think is important, just flipping back to the chart right here to look at, is the US dollar. Now, I showed you guys this kind of bull flag that the US dollar has been forming for quite a while, and it got a fake out to the upside and then ended up dropping back down. But now we're seeing quite a real breakout from this bull flag pattern with local resistance at about 96.8. And the reason that I'm pointing this out to you is that even though we know that the US dollar is incredibly weak against other currencies on this index, it's actually performing really well. And I've shown you this in the past, where I've compared the US dollar to the pound and to the euro and to the Japanese yen, and we're consistently seeing that the US dollar is outperforming other major global currencies, even though the dollar itself is weak. And I think that's really important, because we're generally seeing, right, if we plot this on this chart right here, if I just overlay Bitcoin, you'll see this super clearly, that as soon as the dollar bottoms out, this is where Bitcoin kind of starts to suffer. And actually, you can see it most clearly in our recent move right here. Let me show this to you right here. Let me just drop a vertical line, bam, right here. You can see that the dollar kind of bottoms out right here. I know you can't read the number, but it's at 93.5, and then Bitcoin peaks at roughly the very same time. And then as soon as the dollar starts really making a big breakout to the upside, which, by the way, I was warning you about on this YouTube channel, again, if you're not already subscribed, you're missing out on so much critical information, which, just one of these pieces of information can really save you or help you in these markets. So it's absolutely critical that you manage to watch these videos, you tick the bell, you follow the first link in the description down below to go into my free Telegram channel, where I give you updates on when these videos are going to be published, and I give you more free analysis just like this. What we saw right here was, as soon as we got this breakout, Bitcoin started to drop quite dangerously, quite heavily even, and I think that is very important. And it's also generally, when the dollar starts dropping, we kind of lost that correlation for a little bit this year, but we can see right here, for example, the dollar's dropping quite a lot with these candles, but then this line representing Bitcoin, you can really see how Bitcoin rallying up really nicely until almost exactly when the dollar bottoms out. The dollar starts rising and Bitcoin enters a little bit of a bull market, and then they're kind of rising at the same time, which is generally unusual, and then they're falling at the same time, which is also quite unusual. But it looks like we're right back to that very same inverse correlation right now. And again, the reason that I think this is quite important is, if we go back to the dollar chart right now, this could be local resistance for the dollar after just another kind of 0.2% rise. And the reason that I'm bringing this up to you is that if the dollar manages to top out over here and maybe trade lower again on this index, well, that rise, that 0.2% rise, could be enough for Bitcoin to drop all the way down to that 44k area that I've been talking about for a long time on this YouTube channel, where I've been saying, $44,000 could very well act as support for Bitcoin if it manages to drop down there, or 42. These are the two key areas of support that I've been looking for, and that small rise in the dollar can very well translate into Bitcoin dropping all the way down there. And I think that is critical for this stage of the market. Again, that is where I have to expect that, but I don't know if the dollar's just going to fly right by that level. If it does, Bitcoin's probably fucked, I can't lie. But the dollar doesn't move that quickly, and I think that's something to keep in mind, right? I mean, if the dollar just kind of holds back for, I don't know, a week, that would be enough for Bitcoin to rally and break some pretty key resistance areas. And again, when we consider that these markets, they screw over a lot of people, they cause a lot of pain. Well, one quite efficient way to do that is scare a lot of people into selling their Bitcoin right at the bottom and then rallying up and breaking many resistance levels, making people think that the bear market is over and Bitcoin has finally recovered itself to rise back up, only to find that we drop right back down when we start seeing bigger areas of resistance, right? And we can see this perhaps with the Ichimoku cloud right here. If I take a naked shot where I don't have anything drawn on right here, you can see that we are now establishing a little bit of resistance on this Ichimoku cloud around that $53,000 level. And so we can start to see how this might act as resistance for Bitcoin. We've got the EMA ribbon as well. Perhaps we drop all the way down a little bit, or we just kind of start the rally from here. It doesn't really matter. We're going to see that this EMA ribbon is going to start to kind of stretch over into the low, it's already there basically, into the low $50,000 range. And again, to me, it just makes so much sense that we get one of these relief rallies into those kind of ranges, and then potentially carry on the downtrend, or of course from there we will reevaluate it and look at something that might happen next, like Bitcoin potentially getting ready to resume the bull market. I don't know, we're gonna cross that bridge when it comes. But the key thing that I want you guys to keep in mind right now is that people are turning quite bearish. We see this with the fear ingredient. The data is here. I'm not speculating this. The data is here. People are scared. We see this with the funding rate as well. People are taking on a lot more short positions, and this is all at a time where the market hasn't seen any relief at all. You guys hear me talking about Lux Algo. It's an indicator that I've been using for a while. They're a channel sponsor as well. This indicator is still bearish, but it has fired off a take profit signal right here, showing us that there's a potential sell signal right here, but then another take profit right here. So I think this is important to keep in mind, right? Like, when these indicators are seeing a trending market, they're always going to be talking about us moving downwards. But as soon as we get a little buy signal flash on this market right here, I'm going to take that really seriously. And I don't think we're far away from it. If you look at these purple candles, when the red candles, like over here, turn purple, that's when we start to get these strong buy signals flashing. I wouldn't be surprised if we got another one relatively soon, because one of the key things to keep in mind with these kind of market situations now is that, each time we drop a key level, it takes even less for Bitcoin to break up and become bullish again. And this is a concept that I've spoken about on this channel before, where essentially every time we drop below a key area of support, well, that old area of support becomes a new area of resistance, but that means that our resistance is getting lower and lower and lower, which means that whereas previously over here Bitcoin would have had to rise up to about 52,000, 53,000 to break out of this little descending triangle, over here that level drops down to about 51,000. Over here that level drops down to about 49.6, and over here that level drops down to about 48.5. And so you're starting to see that it takes less and less to make Bitcoin bullish again, and of course that's exactly where a lot of the traps can come in. So this is something that I really wanted to warn you guys about. A lot of people are going to start getting really wrapped up in their emotions right now, and believe me, it's very easy to get like that in these markets, but I'm here to try and protect you from that so that you don't fall victim to those very same emotions. I know that we all have them right now. It's very normal, and it is hard to avoid them. I can't even blame you if you feel like you're suffering as a result of them. But the key thing to be able to do in this kind of situation is take a good step back, really analyze what you're seeing, and then put it all into perspective when we consider what we've seen in this market so far. Weekly time frame, of course, not looking good, but we just don't see so much consecutive selling pressure for Bitcoin without a relief rally. I mean, we really don't. If we look at this on the logarithmic chart, we just generally don't trend down this much. This is basically 5 weeks of trending down with only one small reversal candle in the middle, which was our last weekly candle. When's the last time we had like 5 candles trending down? Over here we only trended down for 2 weeks. Over here only for 2 weeks, right? We're not really like this one. This little trend down, this only lasted 3 weeks. Even the big March coronavirus market crash, where Bitcoin dropped from $10,000 down to $3,000 within the space of 3 weeks, that bear market only lasted for 3 weeks. We just generally don't see such long-term sell-offs. I mean, the last time that we saw something comparable was probably Bitcoin dropping from $6,000 down to $3,000, and I just don't see this being the same state in the market. This was a 6-week continued sell-off, very similar to what we're in right now. But if we look at the chart right now, I mean, like, even then we got a huge rally coming off that bottom. This is my point, guys. It's like I just can't see, like, from low to high, and again a 36% rally, right? If Bitcoin manages to rally off that 42%, $42,000 point, and we get a 36% rally, that still puts us at a bearish price level of $57,000. Because I know that it's going to look really exciting if Bitcoin manages to rise up there, but you better believe that it's going to have a lot of resistance up there if it even manages to rise up that far. And so I think that's something really important to keep in mind. Bitcoin just doesn't trade in bearish patterns for this long. I mean, it'd have to be a really shit an exceptionally shit circumstance in the market where we've seen a ridiculous level of irrational exuberance. And I just don't think we're there yet. I really don't. I think that this was absolutely ridiculous, but we've already paid for this with our bear market, right? We had a lot of euphoria here. We had our bear market. We recovered back up. We're in a little bit of a short-term bear market again. But it's not like the lead up to this crash right here is absolutely not is absolutely not as extreme as this rally here, which took us from $9,000 to $69,000 or $65,000. It's just not that extreme, this rally, and it's not as extreme as what we had right here. And so to me, I don't think that we're entering a real bear market where, again, my God, I want us to drop down to 20 again. Like I said, it would be an amazing price level. I'd sell my bloody house to buy Bitcoin at that kind of price level, but that's not the point, right? What I want isn't necessarily what I'm going to get right now, and I think that's important to keep in mind. I mean, it's just, when we're getting huge market crashes like what we had right here, or like what we had right here, that's usually going to be coming after like a ridiculous amount of explosive price action to the upside. And I don't think we got that. I just don't. And either way, relief rallies happen in the market, and you better believe that they happen when you least think that they're going to happen, when people are turning really bearish, when the masses are suddenly deciding that they want to start shorting Bitcoin and making money while the market is dropping. I think this is a really, really important thing to keep in mind. And again, that's why I wanted to highlight it to you all in this video. I did mention Lux Algo, and if you want to get access to Lux Algo, you can follow the link in the description down below. It's only $68. It is ridiculously cheap for what you get. It's actually been pretty reliable, right? One thing that I want to show you is that obviously when the market was very bullish, you're not really going to be paying attention to sell signals, even though they were actually pretty exceptionally placed. You're generally just going to be looking at these strong buys right here, and you can look at how useful these were. Obviously, this was the only one that didn't really work out, but you've got 4 really, really good hits in a row, and then 5, and then 6, hitting really nice, and then this one not working out so well. So out of 8 strong buy signals, 6 of them working really, really well in my opinion. And then even the sells right here, placed at pretty good times in the market, and so and that's just one aspect of this tool set with Lux Algo. So if you want to gain access to it, you can check out the link in the description down below. And you're not even going to pay this price, by the way. This is full price. You're getting 20% off every single price that you see right here. So if you think that interests you, then check it out. And again, if you want to be able to trade on the same exchange that I'm using, which is in my opinion obviously going to be, I wouldn't put my money anywhere other than the absolute best, right? If you want to do that, then Bybit is the place to be. I'm lucky enough to be working with them as well. So I've been working with them for years. Absolutely love these guys behind the platform. It's by far the most reliable that I've used, and I'm not, like, again, I wouldn't put my money behind something. This is a very important point that I didn't fully back myself. And so if you do want to gain access to it, then definitely check out the link in the description down below. If you were never able to get one of these bonuses, you can just make a new account. And I think it's very important to do so, because if you ever have an issue with one account, there's a KYC issue, you get hacked, or somebody, I know you don't want to think about these things, but at the end of the day, this is your money that's on the line. You got to have a good sense of operational security, and having multiple accounts on multiple exchanges is always a good idea, just to spread out your risk. And if you want to be able to do that and get some free money while you do it, then up to $4,100 is up for grabs for you just by following my link in the description and making your first deposit when you sign up. Of course, finally, like I said, if you want to jump inside VIP as well, all of that stuff is going on with the first link in the description down below. But there you go, guys. I've given you my warning. Bitcoin can keep dropping, and this warning will stay real, and I'll update you on this over these next few days as we see how this situation evolves. But thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.